It was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. The white dress, the flowers, the music, all of it carefully planned for months. But as the wagon rolled slowly through the quiet town of Willow Creek, Eliza sat stiffly beside her father, hands clenched tightly in her lap, heart pounding like a drum about to burst. The church steeple came into view. People were already gathered on the steps, whispering excitedly and craning their necks to see the bride. Her husband-to-be, Thomas Braxton, was a wealthy cattleman from the next town over. A safe choice, her father said. A secure future. A man of land, money, and reputation. But not of love. Eliza had never loved him. He barely knew how to speak to her without sounding like he was reading off a business contract. But ever since her mother died, her father had been lost, grief-stricken and broke. The wedding was more of a transaction than a union. Eliza was the cost of saving the family farm. As they turned onto Main Street, Eliza's throat tightened. The lace on her dress itched like chains around her neck. Every breath grew harder to take. And just as the wagon slowed in front of the church, she made a decision that would change everything. Without thinking, without looking back, Eliza stood up, lifted the hem of her dress, and jumped. Gasps echoed from the crowd as she hit the ground running, her boots hitting the dirt road hard. The veil flew off behind her like a white ghost. The wagon stopped. Her father shouted her name. But she didn't stop. She ran past the bakery, the general store, the saloon, tears stinging her eyes, heart racing like a wild horse. She didn't know where she was going. Only that it had to be far, far away. But fate, it seemed, had other plans. Out of nowhere, a rider appeared on the edge of town. A lone figure on horseback, dust trailing behind him, face shadowed beneath a wide-brimmed hat. He pulled his horse to a stop just as Eliza stumbled toward the field beyond the last house. "Whoa there," the man said, dismounting in a smooth motion. "You all right, miss?" Eliza stopped, breathless and trembling. "Please, don't take me back." The man looked her up and down. She was still in her wedding dress, the skirt torn and dirty now, her hair wild around her shoulders. "I wasn't planning to," he said gently. "But you look like you could use a place to rest." His name was Cole Bennett. A ranch hand from the mountains, passing through to visit his aunt in the valley. He offered her water, a jacket, and a safe place to sit beneath the trees. She hesitated, but his eyes were kind, steady, and he made no move to force her anywhere. They sat in silence as the town behind them stirred with gossip and confusion. Eliza finally spoke. "I couldn't do it. I couldn't marry him." Cole nodded slowly. "Then you did the right thing." Those words, so simple, so honest, broke something inside her. The pressure, the fear, the guilt, it all poured out in sobs she couldn't stop. And Cole sat beside her, quiet and patient, letting her cry without judgment. As the sun dipped lower, he helped her to her feet. "I've got a small cabin 2 miles up the ridge," he said. "You're welcome to come. Just for the night. I'll ride into town tomorrow and let your folks know you're safe." Eliza hesitated. But her instincts, long buried under obedience and fear, told her to trust him. The cabin was modest but warm, nestled beneath tall pines with a creek singing softly nearby. Cole gave her clean clothes, a blanket, and space. He never asked questions she wasn't ready to answer. Over the next few days, Eliza found herself slowly unraveling. She told him about her mother, about the farm, about the weight of expectations that had crushed her dreams year by year. She had once wanted to be a schoolteacher. She had loved books, music, stories. But all of that had been forgotten in the push to survive. Cole listened, really listened, as if her story mattered. And in return, he shared his own past, how he'd left home after losing his brother in a barn fire. How guilt had chased him across 3 states. How he'd found peace not in people, but in the rhythm of animals and land. In each other, they found a strange, quiet understanding. They cooked together, laughed at silly things, shared stories by the fire. What began as a runaway bride's escape turned into something neither expected, a slow, healing bond. But peace never lasts long when the world wants answers. On the 5th day, a wagon rolled up the ridge. Her father. Thomas Braxton. And the town sheriff. Eliza stood on the porch, Cole beside her. You've caused a mess, girl, her father snapped, eyes dark with shame. Come home. You'll marry Thomas, and we'll put this behind us. But this time, Eliza didn't shrink. No, she said, voice steady. I won't. Thomas stepped forward, face red. You think this cowhand can give you what I can? You'll be nothing with him. I'd rather be nothing on my terms than everything on yours, she replied. Cole didn't speak. He just placed a hand on her shoulder, grounding her. The sheriff looked between them all. Then nodded slowly. She's of age. She's made her choice. Her father's face fell. Thomas muttered a curse and stormed off. And just like that, the wagon turned around. Eliza sank to the steps, tears in her eyes, but this time, they were tears of freedom. Weeks passed. Then months. Eliza began teaching the children of the nearby farms under a grove of trees, her dream blooming back to life. Cole worked cattle in the mornings and helped build her a small schoolhouse when he had time. They never rushed love. But when it came, it was real, earned through quiet moments, through honesty, through respect. One evening, as the sky turned lavender and gold, Cole took her hand. I didn't catch you that day to keep you, he said softly. But I'd sure be honored if you stayed. She smiled. I jumped off that wagon thinking I was running away. Turns out, I was running towards something better. He kissed her, slow and sure, and under the fading light, they began the life neither of them had expected, but both had longed for.